Minnesota does not always win people over immediately. A lot of people look at the weather, hear about the winter, see taxes, and ask the same question: why would someone choose to live here long term? For me, the answer is bigger than the weather, housing, and cost of living. Minnesota is one of those places that start making more sense the longer you actually live here. At first, people notice the obvious stuff: the cold, the lakes, the Twin Cities. Maybe the housing prices compared to other parts of the country. After a while though, different things start to stand out. Your routine feels more grounded, life has a little more structure, the community starts to feel familiar, summer hits, and suddenly the entire state feels alive. Winter comes back around, and if you know how to handle it, you realize it gives life a rhythm most places do not have. That is what I want to talk about today. Not a generic Minnesota is amazing video. This is why I personally understand why people move here, stay here, build here, and start seeing Minnesota as home. Before I go into it, I want to ask you this. When you think about moving somewhere long term, what matters most to you? Lifestyle, stability, community, or opportunity? Your answer will probably tell you pretty quickly whether Minnesota could actually fit you. One of the biggest reasons I stay in Minnesota is the stability. That might not sound exciting at first. Honestly, stability is underrated. A lot of places look exciting online, but living there every day can feel chaotic, expensive, crowded, or unpredictable. Minnesota has a different feel. Life here tends to be more grounded, people work hard, neighborhoods feel established, the economy has strong anchors. You have major employers, healthcare, education, finance, retail, technology, real estate, and a lot of industries that keep the area moving. For someone thinking long term, that matters. Buying a home is not only about where you want to be this year. A smart move also considers where your life could make sense 5 or 10 years from now. That is where Minnesota becomes attractive. It gives people room to build something, careers can grow here, families can settle here, first-time buyers can start here. People relocating from more expensive markets often feel like they can finally breathe a little. Now, I'm not saying Minnesota is cheap, that would not be honest. Cost has gone up, rates have changed, and buyers still need to be smart about their monthly payments. Still, when you compare your overall lifestyle, housing options, job market, and quality of life, Minnesota gives a lot of people a more realistic path forward than they expected. That is one of the reasons I would not be quick to leave. Reason number 2, the Twin City gives you options without feeling overwhelmed. Another reason Minnesota makes sense long term is the Twin Cities themselves. Minneapolis and St. Paul gives you two very different city experiences inside the same metro. That is rare. Minneapolis has more of the energy: restaurants, lakes, events, trails, sport, nightlife, and more of the city feel that pull people in. St. Paul brings a charm rhythm. Historic character, neighborhood streets, established pockets, and more grounded pace makes it feel different from Minneapolis. Neither is better for everybody, but that is actually the advantage. You have options. If you want activity, Minneapolis can make sense. When a calmer city feel sounds better, St. Paul deserves serious attention. Someone who wants suburban convenience can look beyond the core cities. A buyer who wants central access might compare places like Roseville. Practical daily life may point someone towards Eagan. Newer suburban convenience can make Maple Grove or Woodbury feel like a better fit. Value and growth might lead buyers to study Shakopee, Blaine, Dayton, and Otsego. The point is not that one area wins. A better way to think about the Twin Cities is that a different area solves different lifestyle problems. That is why I like this market. You are not boxed into one version of life. Some buyers want walkability, others need space. Certain people care about commute. Different families prioritize newer homes, schools, park, and long-term flexibility. Minnesota gives you a lot of ways to build a life that fits you instead of forcing every buyer into the same mold. That variety is one of the biggest reasons people end up staying. If you were moving to Minnesota, which would matter more to you? Would you want to be close to Minneapolis and St. Paul, or would you rather have more space outside the core? Drop your answer in the comments, because that one decision changes the entire search. Reason number 3, the seasons make life feel different here. I know winter gets a lot of attention. People talk about it constantly. They are not completely wrong. Winter in Minnesota is real. Driving takes more patience, your routine changes. Some days are cold enough to make you question every decision you ever made. That is part of the deal. Here's the thing people miss though. The seasons give Minnesota a rhythm. Summer feels earned. When the weather turns nice, people do not waste it. Lakes get busy, parks fill up, patios open, trails come alive. Neighborhoods feel more social. There is an energy here in the summer that's hard to explain until you actually experience it. Everything slows down just enough, but it still feels active. Winter brings a different kind of routine. You spend more time inside, home becomes more important, your schedule gets more intentional, spring feels like the whole state is waking back up. The seasonal shift is not for everyone. Some people want warm weather all year round, and I respect that. For me, that change gives life structure. It makes you appreciate each part of the year differently. Minnesota does not give you the same lifestyle 12 months in a row. Instead, it gives you chapters. Once you learn how to live with it instead of fighting it, the seasons become part of why people stay. Reason number 4, people here care about the community. Another thing I appreciate about Minnesota is the community feel. That does not mean everyone becomes your best friend on day one. Minnesota can take time socially. People are friendly, but deeper relationships often build slowly. Once you get connected though, the community feel is real. You see it in neighborhoods, local businesses matter, kids grow up around parks, schools, activities, and a routine that feels familiar. People care about their spaces, there is pride in where they live. That matters when you are choosing a place long term. A home is not just a bedroom, bathroom, and square footage. You are choosing the environment around the home. The grocery store you use, the street you drive every day, the place you go on the weekend, the people you slowly start recognizing. Minnesota has a way of making daily life more rooted over time. For relocation buyers, that can be powerful. At first, everything's unfamiliar. After a while, the routine starts to settle. Eventually, the place that felt new starts feeling normal in the best way. That is one of the reasons I think people underestimate Minnesota. It may not always feel flashy from the outside. Living here shows you the value in the ordinary parts of life. Here's a question I always think is important. Would you rather live somewhere exciting right away or somewhere that gets better the longer you live there? Comment exciting or long term, because Minnesota tends to connect with the people who think beyond the first impression. Reason number 5, Minnesota is practical without being boring. This is one of the biggest reasons that I understand staying here. Minnesota is practical. The word can sound boring, but it is actually one of the best things about living here. You can build a real routine. The Twin Cities gives you restaurant, jobs, events, sport, art, parks, lakes, and culture. Suburban areas give you space, convenient, and different housing options. Smaller communities around the metro gives people room to think long term. A lot of buyers want that balance. They do not necessarily want the biggest city in the country. Many are not looking for the cheapest place possible either. What they really want is a place where life feels manageable and still has enough to going on. Minnesota does that as well. You can have a career here, a family can build roots here, first-time buyers can find a path here with the right plan, investors can study the market here. Relocation buyers can compare very different lifestyles without leaving the metro. That balance is valuable. Some places give you opportunity, but not breathing room. Others offer affordability, but not enough momentum. Minnesota sits in the lane that makes sense for people who want both practical and quality of life. For me, that is a major reason to stay. Reason number 6, home means more when your routine actually works. The longer I work in real estate, the more I believe this. The right home is not just the one that looks best online. A good home supports your routine. It makes your mornings easier, your commute feels realistic, the location fits your weekends, your payments leave room for the rest of your life, the neighborhood matches your pace. That's why Minnesota works for so many people. There are enough different lifestyles here that buyers can find a fit if they know what they're actually looking for. Minneapolis may fit someone who wants energy and access. St. Paul can make more sense for someone that wants calmer city rhythm. Eagan might appeal to buyers who value practical flexibility. Maple Grove or Woodbury can work for people who want modern suburban convenience. Roseville may stand out for access to both cities. Shakopee, Blaine, Dayton, or Otsego can enter the conversation for buyers thinking about value, growth, and more space. Edina and Minnetonka may fit buyers looking for established quality and long-term confidence. That is the beauty of the Twin Cities area. There isn't no single right answer. A good decision comes from matching the area to the life you actually want. Minnesota gives you enough variety to do that. If someone asked me why I'm not leaving Minnesota, I would not give them one simple answer. There is not one. The real answer is a combination of things. Stability, seasons, community, opportunity, space, the Twin Cities. A lifestyle that feels better the longer you understand it. That does not mean Minnesota is perfect. No place is. Winters can be tough. Taxes surprise people. Some buyers need time to find their community. Certain areas may not fit the lifestyle someone imagined. Every move has a trade-off. The difference is Minnesota's trade-offs make sense for me. For a lot of people, that makes sense too. Especially if you want a place where you can build something instead of constantly feeling like you're chasing for the next thing. That is why people stay. Not because every day is perfect, they stay because the life here feels solid. So when people ask why someone chooses Minnesota long-term, I get it. From the outside, it may not be the loudest or flashiest answer. Living here tells a different story. You start to understand the stability, the seasons become part of the rhythm, your routines settle in. Community starts to form around you. Eventually, Minnesota stops feeling like a place that people move here for a job or cheaper housing. It starts to feel like a place where you actually can build a life. That is why I am not leaving. If you're thinking about moving to Minnesota and you're trying to figure out if it fits your lifestyle, your budget, and your long-term goals, feel free to reach out. This is exactly the kind of decision I help buyers work through before they actually make the move. And if you want more Twin City breakdowns that go deeper than a surface level relocation advice, make sure you subscribe. I will keep covering Minneapolis, St. Paul, first-time homebuyers, relocating strategies, and what living here actually feels like before you actually decide where you land.